Welcome to Untold History. Today we will explore one of the darkest and most transformative chapters in human history, the Black Death. This pandemic, which devastated Europe between 1347 and 1351, profoundly marked the continent in every conceivable aspect. But how did this disease get to Europe? What impact did it have on daily lives and social structures? And, above all, what lessons did this event leave for the future of humanity? Join us on this journey into the past to unravel the origins, consequences, and mysteries of the deadliest pandemic in history. The Black Death arrived in Europe at a time of vulnerability when the continent was already weakened by famine and internal conflicts. The disease is believed to have originated in the steppes of Central Asia and spread through the trade routes that connected east to west. Merchant ships arriving at European ports carried not only spices and exotic goods, but also unwanted passengers, rats infected with the bacterium Yersinia pestis and fleas that transmitted it to humans. The disease advanced relentlessly. From the first recorded outbreak in Black Sea ports, it spread rapidly to Constantinople, Italy, and France, reaching every corner of the continent in a matter of years. Accounts of the time describe a terrifying scenario: entire families succumbing to the disease, abandoned villages, and cities where the dead outnumbered the living. In Venice, strict quarantines were put in place, which, although rudimentary, laid the groundwork for modern public health measures. The symptoms of the plague were terrifying and brutal. Victims developed high fever, chills, and dark, painful buboes in the armpits, groin, or neck. These buboes often oozed blood and pus, and the pain was so intense that victims sometimes sought death for relief. While the bubonic variant was the most common, there were also septicemic and pneumonic forms, both highly deadly and with an even faster spread. The rapidity with which the plague spread left little time for reaction. In some cities, mortality was so high that mass graves filled up in days, leaving survivors with no choice but to burn the bodies of the deceased to prevent further spread. However, these rudimentary methods were far from effective, and the flames, in many cases, only served as a macabre reminder of the omnipresence of death. The social impact was devastating. Family structures collapsed when family members abandoned the sick for fear of contagion. Cities, once centers of commerce and culture, became desolate and silent landscapes. In rural areas, entire villages were wiped off the map, leaving fields unharvested and cattle wandering aimlessly. The effect of the Black Death on religion was profound and paradoxical. On the one hand, many sought refuge in the faith, attending masses and processions to ask for divine forgiveness. On the other, the Church's inability to offer answers or solutions led to a weakening of its authority. This vacuum of spiritual leadership also fostered extreme movements, such as the Flagellants, that went through cities beating themselves in an attempt to placate God's wrath. At the same time, Jewish communities were unjustly accused of spreading the plague, unleashing terrible persecutions and massacres. The demographic collapse brought with it profound economic and social changes. With the population decimated, labor became a scarce resource. This allowed the surviving peasants and workers to negotiate better wages and conditions, significantly weakening the feudal system. This change was not immediate, but it planted the seeds for the transition to a more modern economy and less dependent on serfdom. In addition, many cities began enacting laws to manage the assets of the deceased, leading to a significant change in inheritance and property rules. This redistribution, while chaotic in the short term, allowed many poor families to move up the social ladder, disrupting traditional power structures. A lesser-known aspect is how the plague spurred technological innovation. With fewer workers available, farmers began to adopt more efficient tools and advanced farming techniques. For example, the use of watermills and windmills increased significantly, setting a precedent for the technological advances of the Renaissance. The plague also had a profound psychological impact. Many writings of the time, such as Boccaccio's Decameron, capture the despair and unbridled hedonism that arose as a response to the constant reminder of mortality. This shift in collective mindset was also reflected in increased skepticism toward traditional institutions and a curiosity to explore the natural world, laying the groundwork for humanistic thinking. On the other hand, the relationship between cities and their rural surroundings was transformed. Many cities began investing in more robust infrastructure, such as sewage systems, to prevent future outbreaks. More systematic public health policies were also developed, with an emphasis on cleaning and isolating the sick. Culturally, the Black Death left an indelible mark on art and architecture. Performances of the Danse Macabre, which symbolized the universality of death, became a recurring theme. In addition, the construction of churches and memorials increased, reflecting both the fear and hope of the population. The role of women also changed during and after the plague. With the decline in the male population, women took on more active roles in business and family management. Although these transformations were mostly temporary, they opened up debates about women's capacity and rights that would continue for centuries to come. Although it left a trail of destruction, it also accelerated transformations that would shape the modern world. The lessons learned during this pandemic have influenced the way societies deal with health crises to this day, from the establishment of quarantine systems to the development of preventive medicine. This episode in history, although somber, reminds us of humanity's resilience in the face of adversity. The Black Death marked the end of an era and the beginning of profound transformations that would define the course of European history. If you have been interested in this trip to the past and want to continue exploring the events that shaped the destiny of humanity, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave a comment, and share this video. Thank you for joining us in Untold History. See you in the next episode.